discuss the recent patterns on changes that are taking place in reporting. Reporting for newspaper, reporting for magazines, reporting for radio, reporting for television. Recently, lot of changes have taken place, and all areas of mass communication have seen vast developments in every respect. The electronic media, the print media of the olden days have almost gone out of fashion. They have been totally revolutionized in every way: content, speed, reach, variety, access. In every possible way, the revolution has taken place in the media. So have also changes occurred in reporting. I have with me Ms. Asha Ramachandran, who is a senior reporter in the Statesman. I would like to ask her as to what kind of changes that she now sees in reporting. Earlier, reporting was different. Nowadays, reporting is much different. Earlier, it was manual. Earlier, it was on the spot. Now, things have changed immensely. Asha, could you please tell us what are the changes that have taken place, or what are the changes that you have been facilitated to do your reporting assignments?
Yes, Professor Dua, there has been a huge change in the trends in reporting, in the way we report daily reporting as well as long-term stories that we do. At the center of this whole change is a concept of globalization, because globalization, it has invaded virtually every field, every sector, and media as well. And this has brought the world together, this has brought distances close together. And so the news organizations, be it radio, television, electronic, print, or even online news organizations, they have had no choice but to upgrade themselves to meet this new concept of globalization. And so faced with stiff competition from multinational organizations, which are once upon a time in about 10 years or 20 years back, these multinational organizations were not so much in the forefront as they are today. And so this is a new challenge that they are facing, and also a stiff competition that they are faced with. And so because of this, there has been seen this sea change in the media. So where in the olden days we never had mobile phones, we never had email or internet. So what we had to rely on were two legs. We went there physically, got the story, either got back to office and filed the story, or got to the nearest telephone and dictated whatever. If it was very urgent, we dictated.
Excuse my interruption, Asha. Yeah. I just want to ask you, what are the various instruments? For example, you may be having cell phone, or you may be having Sky phone, or digital technology has taken all over in every respect, in every aspect. And what are the instruments that you use for your own reporting? Doing it from the town. You are working in Delhi as a senior special correspondent, and also sometimes you go out. How do you manage your reporting, and what kind of instruments do you use?
Yeah, all these tools that you mentioned, yes. Because now mobile phone is so useful, because wherever you are, it's very easy to just give a call and alert the office that this particular story has taken place, this particular issue is happening. At the same time, mobile phones now, they've progressed so much that you can even send a story on the mobile phone directly. So email is another thing which over the years you have seen email also progressing. The technological change that has taken place, that has also been immense. Now email, when it first started, we had to go reach an internet cafe and then file a story, which was a big thing for us. For all of us who have seen the days when we had to physically sit and type out stories, or write the stories out and go find a post office, go to a telex, wherever there was a telex department, and file the story from there. From those days, we progressed to a time when there was an email, we had to look for an internet cafe, not a post office, but an internet cafe, cyber cafe. Go there, file a stories from there, reach the office, see that it is reached. Now we have laptops with an internet card, a data card. We just put it wherever we are. We don't have to move out from from the conference site.
Another thing is that earlier it used to be done either by shorthand or by longhand. Nowadays, what are the things that you? How do you do take you're attending a conference or doing a media interview? How do you manage to take notes?
We do take longhand notes as well. That note taking has not moved out.
Okay.
At the same time, we have the dictaphones, the small hand corders that we call it, and these hand corders have also evolved over, because when we first started, it was a regular normal cassette that we used to have, and those cassettes, they were huge ones. And then the size changed to smaller cassettes. Now they're all electronic hand corders.
They're almost
matchbox or the small slim thin ones, which is slimmer than a mobile phone. And now it has come onto the mobile phone itself. We don't even need a separate hand corder. So the mobile phone itself doubles up as a hand corder for us.
But then how do you make use of the notes that you take down or that you record on your mic, on your phone, cell phone, or on the tape recorder or whatever?
Yes, we're transcribing them, but then obviously if you sit and transcribe word to word everything that is being said, it will take you ages. So we do rely on our notes. That is where our notes come in handy. We do rely on our notes, following the notes where we need to have exact quotes. These hand corders are a great tool.
Okay, another thing I want to ask you, because we have very little time at our disposal, what are the changes that have taken place in style, content and ethics in reporting the stories nowadays? Because I find there's a lot of difference. Earlier, for example, we used to have a traditional style of having 4 W's and 1 H, or we used to have breakthrough stories and then status stories. What are the changes that have taken place now that we see? Because nowadays, for example, the lead story, the lead writing is different. Earlier it used to be, as I said, 4 W and 1 H. Now it is a featureized kind of reporting. So what is your view and how do you do these things?
You're right that the trends in writing have also changed. Because now the scene is to catch the people really fast, catch their attention. Like you said, there's very little time that people have. People in a rush, they have to read through the news. Earlier days, newspapers were there. You took a couple of hours to sit at it with a cup of tea or whatever. In the mornings you had ample time to read newspapers. Now you don't have that ample time. Lots of times you just have most people have barely enough time in the car when they're rushing towards the office. Or just, when they're taking a quick bite, they quickly go through it. So to cater to those people, to catch the attention of those people, both the headlines have to be very sharp and very eye-catching, and the intro as well. This is something, that part of journalism doesn't change, because the intro is very important for anyone. Intro is what leads a reader on to the rest of the story.
But nowadays I find that even in political stories, for example, recent developments pertaining to Tahsil Nasreen or other such stories which have, for example, developments which have taken place in Burma, our neighbor, or in Pakistan recently. What are the changes that you find in the story, in the reporting of the stories?
Well, again, like you said, if you say the reporting of it would be, there are two aspects of it. One is the news as it happens.
Yes.
The other side is the analytical part of it.
Correct.
So the analysis of a story that is being done is quite often slightly different from the news writers.
Yes.
So here is where people try to sex it up, if you can use that word, to make it more interesting, make it more readable, make it more attractive. And parallel to this is a huge concept of online journalism. And this is something that is, a fairly recent trend, where you have on the internet there is a lot of journalism that is taking place, apart from the print and the web-based news journalism that's taking place. And this online journalism, it has not been able to keep any kind of authoritarian governments.
Don't you think, incidentally, don't you think there is a lot of difference in reporting for a magazine and reporting for a newspaper, daily newspaper?
There is.
Could you please tell us? Could you please
because a magazine, now there are, if you look at it, you have a news agency, you have a newspaper, and you have a magazine.
Correct.
Now, news agency, the deadline is now, and the newspaper paper, the deadline is the end of the day.
Correct.
News magazine, the deadline is either end of the week or end of fortnight or end of the month.
Correct.
So the kind of research that goes into these three aspects of reporting or journalism is also is very different, because in a news agency they have very little time for research. Whatever they have to whatever information they have, and a newspaper can spend a little bit more time and research on it.
Does it affect the content?
It does not affect the content in the sense of the veracity or the authenticity.
Okay.
Unless a news, this could happen with any of the three news organizations. They just rush through without cross-checking, which is the pitfall of a whole lot of these online journalism and a whole lot of these journalists which are coming in today, who do not check out. Say, for instance, when I was talking about online journalism, this is one of the major pitfalls, because you have, and of course another search tool that we have, that journalists today have, are the search engines that we have on internet. And these search engines, you don't have one but a number of search engines.
But in that case, internet reporting is much different than for a newspaper or news agency, or
yeah, it is in a way different. But then here you have a search engine where you don't go for just one kind of.
Incidentally, we have only half a minute left with us. Can you tell us, has the editorial pressure been there on the contents, or has there been a pressure from the proprietors on reporting in a particular manner?
Yes, there is a lot of pressure that has been seen by both the editors. They have they force the journalists to take on certain angles quite often, but it doesn't always happen.
Does it not mean that there is more of commercialization or commoditization of the news then?
That's the ad side of it. Because ad revenue is a huge revenue for news organizations, and so there is a certain amount of pressure which is brought in by the ad department as well. And so yes.
Advertising revenue is the one which subsists the newspaper, and it is important for the newspaper to take care of the advertisers and advertisement that come in the newspaper. Anyway, what is happening is there are a lot of changes going to take place with the development in technology, and a lot of changes going to take place in content, because there is pressure from the proprietor, there is a pressure from the editor. Moreover, journalism is not journalism of the past. Nowadays journalism is business and it is industry, and the basic object of industry and business is to make money. But at the same time, newspaper has some social responsibilities, some cultural, some educational responsibilities, and we hope that in the future, despite all these pressures and pulls and pressure, the newspaper and general other mass media like radio, television, internet will keep these points in consideration, and we will have as objective coverage as possible. Thank you very much, Asha.
Thank you, sir.